Hello, everybody. Oh boy. I took a older, so I need to add the mixer. Where is it? I don't see the mixer. Here it is. Okay. So that's better. Yeah, welcome again to another live stream. Hopefully everything is fine with you guys. And let's see if everything works here. I need to mute my speakers and increase the headphones. Okay. Yes, we have a some people are already jumping in. Yeah. I wanted to talk about FM bass creation, and I had a little bit of time, not much time preparing, so I was still tweaking a bit. I had a beat. But I don't like the melody. So maybe I should change it a little bit. Let me see how things work out if I make it a little bit different. Okay. Now the sound disappeared. And in this case it's SubBoomBass, and why it's gone, I don't know. So let's open it. That's a good one. Why did it stop working? Yeah, then you have the moment. Okay, here it is. Okay, I don't like it. I don't like it, and I want to have that one as an example for creating some FM type of bass. So here I'm fiddling around, as you can see. Maybe this is good. No, I don't like it. Sometimes when you move it, so that's an option. You go here to grid, using the grid, and then I say use quantize, and then sometimes you can move things a little bit. So let's see if that works. Sometimes it's a nice trick to... No, it still remains not good. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is simply play another one. Something like that. Okay, then I need to start again here, 9, and then C. Beat is okay. Okay, something like that. That's better. So, and now I need to doing the lazy thing. So copy and paste, so that we have that last one could be a bit too long. So I shorten that one. And then I simply do Control D on Cubase to copy it over. And then most likely we have a better bass. Okay, and do this cycle. And then we can start doing this FM stuff. That's better, isn't it? Okay, and now I need to recycle so that it cycles, and then we can start again with creating a bass. That might be interesting to show, because what I did, I started out with this one, which was Bass Punch 07, and I edited it a little bit. So I click here in the upper part, I can go back to the original one. It's a more darker one. Is the audio okay, by the way? Can you hear my voice? Is everything sounding okay? I'm checking in the chat room. This is also nice, a really sub-bass. Okay. Maybe the sound could have been louder. Let's see. Let's see the mixer. Where is the mixer? Here is the mixer, and I need to check the main output. Where is it? Yeah, it could be a bit louder. Cool, isn't it? So we have a beat from Punch. Oops, and now I hit something wrong. We have the mixer, we have a little bit louder sound, and we start with SubBoomBass. Just one preset, and this one is already nice to be used. So it's bass Punch 7 from bass presets 02. But you see here oscillator 2 and oscillator 1 are active, but oscillator 1 doesn't go to the filter because it's used for an FM, or essentially it's a phase modulation. The kick is too loud, or that could be, maybe I can make it a little softer, or maybe the drums are a little bit. Okay, so now if I increase the volume, now we have only the voice and the bass. So you see, when I increase the volume of the bass, the amount, so I can increase it here. Or I could say modulation amount more open. Essentially it's the same, because this is the amount how much the volume of oscillator 1 goes into oscillator 2 to modulate it. And then of course, yeah, what you could do, if you think, okay, I'm making minimal house and I want to have this one a little bit dynamic, then you could go to the modulation matrix and you could say, okay, I take here the modulation wheel, and with the modulation wheel, I'm going to control this oscillator 1 volume. So then could you make it a more dynamic change? So I still need to see if there's another modulation wheel active. Yeah, you see here in the filter modulation wheel, so I shut that down, and I check here in the pitch LFO. Sometimes modulation wheel is also used, but it's the amount control is on 0. It's too much, of course. Yeah, nice, isn't it? So now with drums. Okay. So you see this FM makes that harmonics are added. And that's one of the cool things of SubBoomBass-2. You're not limited to the traditional subtractive synthesis, but by using oscillator 1 to control oscillator 2, and you see the oscillator 1 doesn't go to the filter, it modulates the phase of the, and you see there are also other options, but FM is essentially FM's synthesis type, which is essentially phase distortion. But okay, that's a little detail. So here you can see, then you can really create much different type of basses, very punchy, because FM synthesis is known for the dynamic punch. So, and what the case is with FM synthesis is that the oscillator, in this case oscillator 1, which is modulating the other one, so this one, if you want to do this only for a certain time, so you need for the oscillator 1 an envelope, and we have that of course inside SubBoomBass-2. We have very fast envelopes, and here you can see that envelope 1 is used to control the volume of oscillator 1. So essentially the oscillator is not continuously modulating, only controlled by the envelope. So if I make double click, it goes 0. You can hear that this is constant modulation. So that's, so now but by adding the volume control, you can control essentially that the curve, so the modulating oscillator has a particular time curve in terms of the modulation. And that's also what is used in FM synthesis. You have operators and carriers and the modulators, and the modulators, each of them have their own envelope volume. That's what you need with FM synthesis, that you have essentially control over this volume, so that you can say it's very short, it's only very short modulating. See here the difference? Or maybe if I make here the tuning different, you might even hear it even better. And now it starts to get out of tune because so you see the envelope controlling this volume really creates this sound. If you would not have it, it would sound like this. But by adding the volume control, you can go further. And you notice it's very punchy. Okay. And of course you need to tweak it. You need to find the right balance. How much do you want to modulate? And by changing the pitch, you really colorize the tone. Nice, isn't it? So you have trillion sounds. And then you have the option to have the filter with SubBoomBass-2. So when I shut oscillator 1 down, you only hear oscillator 2, which is essentially only. And now with oscillator 1. Cool, isn't it? What you can do with FM synthesis, simply with 2 sinus waveforms. Well, it's not the case that with SubBoomBass-2, you can essentially use the FM modulation on a sample. Not always has a good result, but essentially it is possible. So if you have SubBoomBass-2, check this bass Punish 07. In bass presets 2, oscillator 1 is modulating oscillator 2. Change the volume, go to envelope 1 here, down here, change the decay, work with sustain, play with the semitone. You get a lot of different tones. And okay, so another thing which I of course like to mention is of course Delsane. We should have released it today, but we had a very odd bug, which also is in the. So okay, let's see, where's the mixer? Okay, this one doesn't want to go away. Here's the mixer, and let's put voiceover or here. Oh, that's better if I do this. Oh, my voice is much better when I do this. Okay, so we have. Okay, where is the. There's many tracks which are not used in this song. So here it is. Insert, I use. And I can show you now that we have VST3 support. Because in search, you see we have in Cubase, you have the subfolder. There you can select Delsane, which is essentially the 2.4 VST. But for sidechain and Cubase, you need VST3. So Sajik did a great job helping and creating this VST. And then Delsane will be in the group delay. You see, delay, Delsane. Here you see 3 little lines. And that means that it is VST3. So here's the Delsane, and we can put that on the bass. So yeah, we had last week. I created a video. So which will be published tomorrow once we release Delsane, the update. So then there are 4 minutes you can check what is new in Delsane. We have the wet volume control here, which I can show you here, is that if you sometimes use the high pass filter, so if I would go to one of the presets, give me a second, where is it? This one, you see this one? Now it's on the basis, maybe a bit uncommon. Now, doesn't sound well, beats this one, but the wet volume means, because if you open this to the right and the high pass filter, you see that's also new, it's animated. See, that's also new feature. So once you have the disrupt fader addressed to one of the parameters, they will move, and you can shut it off. If you think, oh, this is going to irritate me, you can say turn dial animation off. So that's an option. Then you see that we have this wet volume. So if you use the disrupt, and sometimes if it's high pass filter, it gets a bit less in volume, you can use the slider also to correct this. This is, of course, essentially the wrong sound for it. So let me see if I have another sequence active. Give me 1 second or 2 seconds. I think it's more. Let's see if we have somewhere another sequence. No, not that one. Not correctly in terms of chords, but it's Predator sound. Okay, I will do this with Predator. I shut down the delay in Predator itself. It's a bit thin. Okay, now just as an example, don't bother about the sequence. We use it 1 trillion times, I believe. So when I go here and pick Delsane, okay, let's take the VST3 one. Okay, why is it out of sync? I don't understand that. Okay, could be me. I don't understand this one. Okay, this is strange. Okay, let me see. See to take another one. This one, number 8, and then I show you the we were talking about. For some reason, it's the timing. I'm not sure what is happening here. Could be me doing something wrong. So now you hear the timing is really crap. What is going on? Maybe this is the wrong song I picked. Did something wrong in the settings here. I think that's the reason. It shifted. But you see, I go to the right and the sound gets really thin. And if I shut this down, then it gets a little bit soft. So that's the reason why we add the wet volume. So if something gets soft, you can increase the volume or decrease. That's also possible. But I created a 4-minute video about Delsane, which will be published tomorrow. In there, I mention all the new cool stuff inside Delsane. Why it is not working currently, I have no clue, guys. I think it has to do with this time setting here. Something in Cubase, which I did wrong here somewhere here with this thing. So I really could have messed up. But okay, the subject is of course the bass. So I'm checking here the chat room. So I'm going to shut down. They'll say now, and we keep it with the FM bass of SubBoomBass. There it is again. So I'm going to see there's a question, so I'm going to answer that one. There's a question in the chat room. For making the metallic effect FM with the bass, with this bass, it's possible. It's with cut off. Not sure. Yeah, it's if you would have, let's say if you go to a default preset, let's start from scratch, and then you can hear why FM is a little bit complicated. So we really start from scratch. A default preset, as mentioned, I take oscillator 2, sinus waveform, I shut down the velocity, and so FM synthesis, you can hear, means that another oscillator modulates the other oscillator. So if I pick it here, I call it FM, and this is the amount, how much it does modulate. Of course, the volume also has influence because, yeah, this is the volume of the oscillator. Now, I shut it down from going into the filter. I can make it later on also. So if I put it on now, you can hear the modulation. So the volume of the oscillator, or here, there's not much difference. This is the amount control, so it's a kind of second volume control here. This is the modulation amount. And you see here, it changes the harmonic content of this waveform. And when I go up with the frequency, you get all kind of, now it sounds atonal, so it's more like a, so now it's more like a, how do you call it? Says put a ball. Like a clock. So it's the, of course, so you have all kind of tones. And by the way, if you go very down, also could shut, you can see frequency modulation, it also changes the pitch. So if the frequency is very low, you have essentially an LFO, vibrato. And how the higher I go, so essentially this is what I'm doing now. You also could do with your analog synthesizer, or if you have a output and you put that in the modulation input, you can make this metallic sounds. And if you stay low in the frequency, so the frequency of the oscillator in a range of 20 hertz, and that's why I put down the the keyboard tracking, is that you see it's like modulation, it's like a vibrato. And of course, yeah, if you see on a synthesizer a LFO, which is down here, you see where my mouse is, LFO, it's a low frequency oscillator. This is the same oscillator as oscillator 1 and 2, only it operates on a very low frequency. So if you change here the speed, and you see in the upper thing, you can also see that the frequency of this oscillator is very low, 0.077910, and it goes up to, yeah, pretty much 23 hertz. So even still very much below the hearing range. So a low frequency oscillator is an oscillator which is on a very low pitch. And if you use that one on another oscillator, it generates this LFO. And even could select here a different waveform. Saw, so, square, But if you go up with the frequency, now I put off the keyboard tracking, because you see, if I shut oscillator 2 down and then play and make the oscillator go to the filter, you see everywhere I play there's no pitch. So therefore is this tracking, then it follows the pitch of the keyboard. Okay, and now I use it again for oscillator. Of course, this is a kind of bell sound, but if you have volume control, so now I could do it with the dial, so like this. Hear that? So now there's volume control, you can make more interesting sounds. So for this, you could use an LFO, but most common for that would be the envelope, which you see down here, envelope 1, and I would say envelope 1 controls the volume of oscillator 1, and I put the amount open. Or and you see it ends into the sinus, so it modulates oscillator 2, but only over a given time, so the envelope determines that. So we had these. It's too ugly, so then you need to tweak around. Yeah, tweaking it. So the volume, the pitch, and of course, the decay. But you see how many variations you have in terms of sounds. So, where's the rest? And what you also could do is use velocity. So velocity to control the volume. So now the volume is controlled by the envelope, and you could do it in different ways. You could use it here, because then you could say use the velocity to control this amount. That's a way to do it. I hear my keyboard. That's one way you could do it. Another way is, maybe that goes a little bit further, is simply using here BT source velocity and put that directly on the oscillator 1 volume. Yeah, that's stronger. So if I play, hear that? So if the velocity is now controlled here in the modulation mates, velocity of oscillator 1. The harder I play, the harder the volume gets. If it gets too hard, it's really... So let's see. Adds a little bit of dynamics. You can make it a bit thicker. If it sounds nice, a bit of a chorus. Delay, mono delay. very typical type of bass, very different from the traditional FM traditional subtractive sound. So okay, so let's see the chat room. So this one responds to velocity. If you want to have less velocity, you go to the modulation matrix and put it there. So that's what you could do. Maybe it's a good idea that I place this one down or save it, and that you could download it after the live stream. Save preset as, and FM Chicago, I call it. Here we go. Okay, I need to set category. So FM type bass. You see, we have it even as an option. It's in poly mode. Rather have it legato. That's cooler. It's bright. It's clean. Modulation. Yeah, I would say very percussive, and then save. But of course, I need to make it here legato because. I'm looking here. If I hear something weird, no, it's. I think I should save this one. Save preset. Where's the drums? Oh, here it is. But if you have this preset, you can change it. And what you can do, again, is change the volume of oscillator 1, change the envelope 1, which is controlling this volume, and change the modulation amount if you want to have less velocity. And as you can see, I put the velocity on the volume down because that gives a steady bass in your level. So so again, I will start. So you download this one, and then you do these steps. You say, okay, Rob told me I should change the volume. Oh yeah, indeed, it changes the sound. Maybe this one is better. Or change the semi-pitch. Oh, that's aggressive one. And change the envelope. Envelope 1, which is controlling the volume. Amount. Although I would keep that one on 100%. Yeah, you still can use the filter. The filter is here. So now I close the filter and I open the envelope. Add some resonance. Although not so effective on this sound, you still can use the filter. Or say a comp filter. Makes a weird sound. Or vocal filter. Yeah, it gets away a little bit with the energy. So you even could say bypass. Or simply the 24 dB low pass filter. Where was it again? Or number 2, or I had number 1. But yeah, you see the filtering, you do a bit more with the FM modulation. And of course, it's also cool, with SubBoomBass, you still can use the sub-oscillator. So if I would go higher with this one, the oscillator 2 higher, different one. Bit narrow. That's a growling one. So you see how much tone colors you have by instead of these sinus waveforms. So I use now each time the sinus waveform because that's a very suitable waveform for using to modulate the auto oscillator. Yeah, lots of experiments. So after today, download this preset and tweak around the things which I mentioned, and don't be afraid to do some other stuff. So to change the waveform or change the semitone. So yeah, this Kafa in the chat room says, is the decay creating this punchy sound of it? Yeah, that's definitely the case, that the envelope which is controlling this envelope, this oscillator 1, that makes that this oscillator is not continuously modulating the other one, but also only over a given time, and then this creates this punchy sound. Because if I get away with that, you get this. Also nice sound, but not a bass. This is more a lead sound, so this will be more. More lead sound than a bass, isn't it? Just by using you see how much influence this has. This FM synthesis is it's tons of options. It's not always easy, but yeah, that's why we do the live stream. So what you can do is try this basic preset, change the volume of oscillator 1, change the semitone, and change this envelope, and then you get trillion tones. But this one is also cool, yeah. Yeah, let's save it. I agree, totally. Save preset as, and then we call this the May bass, because this one is bass. May bass. What a name, May bass. Bass 01. So I make that one also downloadable for you guys. Okay, I hear all kind of weird things. Okay, something dropped here. Must be my brains. Okay, I hope you like it. Yeah, the other one, it sounds 90s club sound, this other lead sound. So if I shut down this it's from this I know this track. I kind of yeah, a bit like that, isn't it? Okay, I save this also one. This would be the elite preset. Save preset as 90 9T lead. That's a nice thing. Save preset as 9T lead. But I guess you get my point. Yeah, death lead. Yeah, no, it's not too unlimited. It's a Belgian producer who created this. I can't recall the name. It was a huge hit. Trillion variations and remixes, and yeah, it sounds a little bit like it. It's different, but okay, that's cool. So we have this one additionally. Well, guys, today, because yeah, I told my story a little bit. Mortal Kombat preset. I don't know. Oh yeah, Lee, I spend more time thinking of patch names than I do making the sounds. Yeah, it's sometimes a pain to find a new preset name. Sometimes I make it very silly. Yeah, thank you, Anias, for your nice comment. My pleasure. Our team is having a pleasure if you are happy with our products. There's one guy mentioned, this is Nell. He does mention, is it possible to make it sound less steppy when going into audio rate LFO speed? Yeah, you turn up this dial, and of course it's a little bit steppy. What you could do is use the modulation wheel forward, although that one has also not. Oh, yeah, that's a tricky one. Because yeah, it's a big range where you go from one low up high. So yeah, that's a good question. Maybe the modulation wheel could be an option. So if I go back to the question is that if you change this pitch here, you hear all these little steps because it goes in semitones. One thing you could do is then use the modulation wheel. Let's give this a try and use the modulation wheel to change the pitch if you want to have this as a kind of dynamic sound change. So that sounds pretty smooth. So it has 36 semitone range. So I send this one now to the oscillator 2, FM. So now, see the modulation wheel controls. Of course, now it doesn't have a, but you could make it a very cool thing would be if you have then an envelope active. So let's give it an envelope, oscillator 1. Here there's a little bit. Yeah, cool. That you could do. So use the modulation matrix for making, because I did this movement here with this one. And then you hear some steps, some changes, because yeah, the parameter has limited settings. It has semitones changes, and the modulation wheel, and if you think it's not enough, that's a little trick in our synthesizers. Then you go again, modulation wheel again to oscillator 1. And then you increase the range. So then it goes very high. And if you do this with taste, so this one is a bit over the top. So what you could do, open the modulation wheel and then you search for a nice sound. Then you could do essentially a sound which is dynamically changing, and you use simply the modulation. Morphing into another bass. see, there are so many options to use this in a creative way. So hopefully that answers your question, is that, yeah, to have a smooth pitch change of this oscillator 1, which modulates FM synthesis oscillator 2. Okay. Can you use the sequencer on the modulation oscillator? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good question. So if I go here, go to the sequencer, I put this active sequence. I put it. Of course, I can use the velocity, which is per step. Of course, I need to connect the velocity then, so I could say here velocity. Where is it, baby? Where are you, baby? Yep, there it is. And connect that one to the oscillator 1 volume. Just a little bit, only a tiny bit. That will be a way to control it. Looking for a better sound. Okay, here's the sequencer. So you could use the velocity for it. But you need to connect it, because velocity here, there's no direct connection to the oscillator 1 velocity. You see here is in the amp section, there's velocity. So here, the setting from the velocity here does also respond on the volume. Or if you would have the filter here, you could also use the velocity here. But there's no direct connection to the oscillator 1, it's volume. So that one you need to do in the modulation matrix by using the velocity and control the oscillator 1 volume. Hopefully this answers that a little bit. Oh, good. Okay, guys. Yeah, time flies, isn't it? We have the lucky thing today that we have 2 demo songs for at the ending. I have a outro by Sanjini, and Sanjini, guys, you know from his lovely patches he gave to us recently for Prisma. And I'm gonna play that one first, and let me see if I can. Okay, I need to go to his, sorry for that. Need to go down because he wrote me something. Oops. Yeah. He wrote this song, about this song he wrote. Just made a little track. Maybe it's good enough for an outro. Yes, sure it is. I listened to already it, and it's very nice. Yeah, it will never compete with funky Tom Alrig. Yeah, Tom Alrig is king of funky, as we know. But it doesn't matter. We love to listen to things that people do with our plugins, and maybe also other plugins. He said drum with Punch 2, percussion with BIT, then the sequence ARP with Bluetooth, Vecto, strings and choir are also with Vecto. And I really love the choir in this track. A little bit of RPEQ on the top and FX for the instruments. Yeah, then he says, as usual, there never can be enough sequences of arpeggiator, and there never can be enough strings and choirs. Yeah, I agree. I know you always recommend less is more. Definitely, if you give things space, then people can hear it a little bit better. But I think you nailed pretty much. And then you say, Yeah, this is a baroque fullness hits the spot. Okay, let's play it. San Genie, and its track is called Outro. Very nice. I'm gonna shut down my microphone and we're gonna listen to it. Yeah, very nice. It would really fit very nice on a documentary on Discovery Channel or Natural Geographic. So very nice. Thank you, Sanjini. Lovely. Yeah, the voices are very nice. It's from Vecto, he mentioned. Yeah, guys, so maybe I'm a bit late. I was a bit later. No, I'm still good on time. It was, yeah, Hugo is asking, is it made with only raw Papen plugins? Yeah, it's fully done with raw Papen plugins. He mentioned this. Drums with Punch 2, percussion with BIT, sequences are by Bluetooth and Vecto, strings and choir by Vecto, and then he has on the mix RPEQ, FX on the instruments. Yeah, it's a nice combination, definitely. Okay. The other track, which is okay, now I need to see. That's Be Very Afraid. Oh, Daily Time. Oh boy. Tom, you need to help me out because I have both of them. I think it's Be Very Afraid. I'm not sure. Anyhow, in the meantime, so Tom, if you could mention which I should take, Daily Time or Be Very Afraid. Is that, yeah, tomorrow Del Sane will be finally released. You had a little bug. I created a little YouTube video. Watch it. Then you will see the new features, which are very cool. We have VST3 support. You can have sidechain inside of it. And yeah, next week we are back again. Maybe I could then show you a little bit of the new FX, play a little around a bit. And Yeah, that's a good thing. Somebody's mentioned in the chat room, thinking out of the box. Yeah, we love to do thinking out of the box. So welcome in the family of thinking out of the box. Oh, it's daily time. Yeah. So yeah, guys, if you like the live stream, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, check if you're maybe a bit later on, you can always play it back, because in the playlist live streams, you can watch it again. And today's subject was using SubBoomBass-2 for doing some FM type of synths. I will upload the preset in the download section, and then you can play around with them. And hopefully you can create some cool new sounds. It's definitely very interesting, this FM thing inside SubBoomBass-2. Okay, we go out with Tom. Funky Tom, thanks again. And I did not play it today, so also for me, new. And stay safe, guys, and enjoy creating music. See you next time, and we go out with daily time. I wonder what it will be.